Thank you guys very much. I'm sorry, that's a cheesy joke, and I know it's a cheesy joke, but I have to do that every now and then. Have you noticed I've got a little rasp in my voice? This change in the weather is driving me up the wall. And it just scratches, and every time somebody notices it, they have to tell me how to resolve it. Everybody has a home remedy. My mother always says, drink 8 ounces of juice every 30 minutes, and it'll flush whatever's wrong right out of you. Gross. My granddad always said, a teaspoon of honey and a shot of Jack Daniels will cure what ails you. So I combine the two. I drink 8 ounces of Jack every 30 minutes until I just don't care anymore. I am a married gentleman. I've been married for 12 years now, or 62 and a half Kardashians. And I love my wife dearly, but, you know, I think something's wrong. My wife changed jobs recently, and she came home the other day, and she had to fill out all of that insurance paperwork. And she came home and said, you know, Clint, I've raised your life insurance by about twice as much as what it was, just because I want to make sure everything's taken care of. And I thought that was awful sweet of her. Till I looked on Facebook and saw her status had changed from married to widowed. I guess after 12 and a half years, I finally figured out the difference between a wife and a girlfriend. 10 years and 30 pounds. Never get those backwards. That's illegal. But I love my wife to death, but she has this thing for shoes. If the shoe fits, she buys it in 3 sizes and 2 heel colors, or two colors and 3 heel sizes. Let's see if I can get that right. She has a closet just for her shoes. Top to bottom, front to back, side to side, nothing but shoes. And I will never understand why you ladies will pay hundreds of dollars for designer name brand shoes, because I know you're not doing it for us guys. Because if you are ever interested in a guy who knows the difference between patent leather peep-toe Jimmy Choos and platform peep-toe Christian Louboutins, he's not interested in you. It's the shoes. Or it may be your younger brother, but it is definitely not you. And you know, some of the time I just think it's the difference between the way men and women think. And ladies, sometimes you have to think like a guy when you get dressed. And the reason I say this, I saw a lady the other day, had on a deep V-cut T-shirt, said Guess across the front. I was not thinking of designer name brand clothing. I'm thinking, you're almost 50 years old and those aren't at your waist. I'm going to guess silicone. Or what's worse, I saw a guy today, in skinny jeans. But that's not the worst part. He was in skinny jeans that said Guess on the back pocket. I'm thinking, single? Or maybe more interested in the shoes. I'm getting older. I turned 41 this year. 41 freaking years old. And that may not sound that old to some folks, but my dad passed away when he was 34. Had I known I was going to live this long, I might have done a few things different, like eat a salad or take the stairs. But, you know, I find that things irritate me as I get older that probably shouldn't. I hate Twitter. I hate Twitter with a passion. And it's the same reason I hate bumper stickers, because some things need more than this much space to say. I pulled up behind a car the other day. Bumper sticker said, "Try Jesus." All I could think was, tastes like chicken. Goes great with red wine. Or I pulled up behind a car. It said, "Don't let the car fool you. My treasures are laid up in heaven." I've never seen that on a car that might actually fool me. Or on the way here, I pulled up behind a pickup truck. It said, "Don't mess with Texas." Well, then quit giving us people like George Bush and Rick Santorum. How do you expect us not to mess with that? But I still like to read the newspaper. Not Yahoo News or Google headlines, the actual ink on your fingers newspaper. Some of you guys are old enough to remember that. And the reason is because you learn things from reading the entire article that you don't get from just the headlines. I was reading a headline the other day. It said, Miss USA from out in California considers herself a history geek. Anytime she sees a history book she hasn't seen before, she just has to buy it. You got to read the article. Read the entire thing. Nowhere in there did it mention that she reads a single one of them. Apparently she's just collecting them. Or I was reading the other day that that this guy, he committed murder or attempted murder, and his claim was that Olivia Newton-John's ghost told him to do so. Now, number one, Olivia Newton-John is not dead. So how does she have a ghost? But the other thing is, I was thinking to myself as I was reading the article, how does Olivia Newton-John's ghost tell you to off somebody? Does she say, let's try chemicals, chemicals, I want to try chemicals? My wife, you have to understand, grew up in a very sheltered household. Here's how sheltered. Our boys played sports. They named the teams after colors. You had the red team, the blue team, the black team. Our boys played on the white team. My wife thought it would be a good idea to put on their T-shirts, white power. Let's just go ahead and call them the Mighty Whiteys. Maybe get them sponsored by Kevin's Krispy Kreme. And I have to say, my wife is not racist. She's clueless, but not racist. And I don't like racism in any way, form, or fashion. But I believe in stereotypes. I think stereotypes exist for a reason. And every time I say that, somebody goes, I know so-and-so who doesn't fit that stereotype. Of course you do. If you didn't, it wouldn't be called a stereotype. It would be called a fact. I'm sure somewhere there's an Asian woman who did not graduate in the top of her class and can drive. I'm sure somewhere there's a black man who can swim and understands hockey. I'm sure somewhere there's a Mexican who lives by himself and never carpools. I'm sure somewhere there's a Jew who pays retail. I'm sure somewhere there's an accountant with an unbalanced checkbook and a balanced personality. I'm sure somewhere there's a police officer who prefers tea and salad. I'm sure somewhere in Branson there's somebody with a full set of teeth who doesn't think the tornado sounded like a train. That's my time. I'm C.R. Parsons. Thank you, guys. We're going to bring up our last comedian now. She's a good friend of mine. I like to call her the